Debbie, welcome to the Nugget Lounge. We're real excited for this coming Tuesday. You're going to be a special guest, and a friend of mine, and Debbie, she's creative Dare to Declare. And Dare to Declare is she helps people with vision, and vision is really the beginning of everything in your life. If you don't have a vision, then what are you going to create for your life, and what kind of result can you expect if you don't have that? And Debbie's actually spent, I think, 30 years in the industry and self-development and vision board creation. And these vision boards actually work. They have purpose. They're just not spaghetti thrown up all over the wall and hoping that you have some sort of, there's a very specific order that goes about vision. And more importantly, she can help you form that vision. Because a lot of times we are covered in mud. We don't see the things that we really want to build in our life. We're having expectancy for, new house, new car, relationship, retirement, financial freedom, any of those things, whatever the vision is, small, large. And I challenge you to go large because it costs us just much mental equity as it does small. So you might as well dream big on it. So Debbie is going to be here Tuesday at 12 o'clock Eastern time to Mindful Nugget, and she's going to share with you some serious nuggets about vision. Debbie, you want to talk a little bit about how you came into this and what you created? And I know you got a beautiful business that's going on. It has been for a long time, and you impacted thousands of people by going through this, building it. This is your vision.
This is my vision. And that's the beautiful thing about this work is that I am not preaching over here and living something else over here. You and I, we had the privilege to meet last year, or this was it this year? The last year.
Last
Um,
year, yeah.
yeah, last year I got to meet you and your wife and in person. And you can see, like, I was just coming back from a trip that I have freedom of time. I've got freedom of money. I get to create a vision and I'm manifesting it. And so yeah, that's the beautiful thing about this business. And the other thing, I was telling a group of clients, students that I had the other day around the very business of visioning is imagination. And so,
Mm-hmm.
I was recently on sales presentations. They were trying to sell me a condo. Now, I wasn't about to buy the condo, but I'll tell you what, I watched and listened to the salesperson. I was just enamored with all of the things. I was like, oh yeah, good one there. Oh yeah, there. But the biggest thing I noticed was they use imagination. They bring you into the most beautiful suite. It's completely decorated. It's got like space like, oh yeah, can you imagine yourself as the grandma? They've even got kids' toys on the bed. They've got the table all set. So you can imagine spending time there with your family. Well, that's the very thing that we do with a vision board is imagination, but it's also a really beautiful tool because part of selling is imagine you with this life, right? So it's all really connected in the very tool itself around creating that vision and imagination.
It's tying emotion to that as well. And with vision, a lot of us have dreams and we never write those things down. We just hope forward, and that's what a dream is on it. But when we actually have a vision and we have the imagination of how it looks, I'll give you an example for me. And I do a lot of carpentry work. Used to, still do some. But if I was to imagine like building a bunk bed for the grandkids, I would first see what that looks like in my mind, and then I would actually start seeing all the little pieces that and what was necessary for that to form into a creation. And then it manifests by because I'm now transferring it on paper. I draw it out, I see it, figure out the materials, then I go build it. And that's a great process. And in the case, for us, especially sales, if you could create that motion, and I know you're very self-aware when you go through this, you listen very closely, and these things are necessary to evoke that emotion. But why do you want it? And that's when the emotion comes in because it's really passionate. I really want to get involved. I want to build this, and I've got to see it. But if we can't see it, I don't think it's very possible to build it. And that's when I know you come in very successfully to help people see things. How do I, how do, how have we ever been taught to lay out a vision properly? The answer is probably no for the most of us. Even in businesses, I'd go into a lot of business. I'd say a mission statement, but what's the vision on that? And in business, we got to have a vision. Where are we going? What are we building? Who is going with us? What does that look like? And that galvanizes the team. And if without a vision, the team is going to be basically, it's basically faith without works. Works are dead because it's just doing this on it. And you've worked with several businesses over the past. I know it, not just recently, in fact, because I think you mentioned you had sold your book. I'd love for you to tell them about your book too. You're going
Okay.
to let you create it as well.
I just want to go back to something you said about the bunk bed. I love that analogy, by the way. It's a really great one. And prior to even seeing the two beds stacked on top of each other, I would think that as the grandpa, you have either had the kids ask you, "Hey, grandpa, can we stay over for the night?" Or, their mom to say, "You know what? I just need a night away from the kids. Is it possible for you to have them?" And that you had the imagination of the experience of having the grandkids in your home and building those bunk beds.
Mm-hmm.
So that even comes before you even have the vision of the two beds stacked. It's the experience, it's the emotion of kids tucked up nicely into safe beds, and that they're having fun, they've been at your house. And that's really important. I just want to point that out, that
It
also that's
is.
differentiator between my process and others, is that emotional piece. Because when you get into the actual construction of the bed, maybe maybe you got them from IKEA and they only come with that little silly key, with that like little bent,
Yeah, the hex wrench.
right? You got to use that, and you're trying to put it together. You're like, I can't figure this out. It's not working. That you're like, okay, why? Not because you want bunk beds so badly, but because you want to have a space for the grandkids to be able to be safe, to be able to come and enjoy. So it's the emotion, it's the imagination, it's the vision of the experience that's going to keep moving you forward as you meet each of those goals of putting that bed together. So I just wanted to point that out because I love that analogy.
Well, it is. It's very crucial. But more, really, I mean, you nailed it. Going a little bit further in that, involve them in the vision of creation and get them to help with the creation of it as well, because that's the memory. That's the memory that will last forever. You're building it not only in physical but also internally as well. And so when you have that vision, in a sense, when you go back to business, we cast that vision and everybody, yes, let's do that. And then not only does it get bigger, you get things that you wouldn't have thought of either is a possibility. So again, vision itself is very important, because without that vision, nothing be created. But the emotion again behind it, what's the why?
Right.
So
And that is the emotion piece. And it also builds
mhm,
a business culture. So goals are more of they're the action piece, they're the execution, they're the strategy piece,
mhm,
they're the day-to-day work. They're important as well. And when you have a vision, then it makes the goal accomplishment fun, because you know that you're heading in a certain direction. I had a conversation yesterday with my son, and he says he's feeling a little bit loose ended right now because he's at a job, but he doesn't really have a vision anymore. He said, Mom, when I was in college, I had a vision for graduating. So, even though the classes were hard and he had to take different courses, and he spent 3 years in college to become a 3D animator, he knew he had a vision of that diploma, of creating his final project. But now he's finished college, he's got to go look for a job. And he even said to me, he goes, Mom, I think I need a new vision board. He's like, because I said, absolutely. Nothing excites me more than my son coming and wanting a vision board, I'll tell you that.
no
But
kidding.
yeah, so what does that look like for the life that you now want as a graduate? And we need to create this next vision and then putting the goals in behind it. But you're right, it's really important as well for a workplace to have the vision, and not just to set it up as administrators that this is our vision, but to have a shared vision so that
Absolutely.
you're enrolling the employees into the full vision, so that when work gets tough, when challenges happen, when there's setbacks, that you can hold back onto the inspiring vision that this is the reason we're doing that. That is our why. You're right.
It's why the anchor, the whole reason. Yeah, it's important. But I love that your son, uh, comes to for vision boards. You are the master at vision boards, and you've done it for so many years, decades, and you've got it down packed. And you like to say, you've helped that many people realize the vision, not only the creation of the vision, but actually you've helped put people in business making vision boards, teaching them how to go about that process. You care to speak about that a little bit? Because that's just as important, but to give not only a vision, but a vision to transfer to other people how to get vision on it. And that, I think the more we can get people in the right steps, right order, in purposeful design, the better off this world's going to be. We'll get out of the scarcity so much and get into prosperity because we're creating. We're not just doing randomly.
For sure. So I've helped in multiple ways. I've helped entrepreneurs get clear on what they really want because there can be so many things. Just because you can do everything doesn't mean that you should be. There's steps to that. So an entrepreneur really does need a vision board. However, an entrepreneur can also get really wrapped up in business, and it's like the wheel of life. It gets really flat if you forget to take care of your body and take care of your relationship and
Mhm.
all those other areas of that wheel. So a vision board has 7 areas. So that's another key component, is that how we do something somewhere is then how we do it everywhere, and that we infuse energy into all those areas. So that's one way that I help business people as entrepreneurs. But then I also help corporate, and I'm not as excited because I spent 30 years as a leader in developing a corporate vision. I'm more interested in the employees, individual employees, because what I know as an administrator, as a leader, is that my strength is in my employees having a sense of satisfaction, having an understanding of their piece of the organization, but also knowing that as an employer, I care. And so, in order to lower turnover, to attract the best employees, when an employer can truly demonstrate, I don't just see you as a payroll number, but I actually am invested in you as a person, a vision board is a really great way to express that as an employer, to say you matter to this organization so much so that we're going to give you a day away from work where you can create not just your vision of including the employer here, but your full vision. Where do you want to travel? What does it look like for your relationships? What do you want to keep learning about? That really demonstrates from the employer to the employee that you matter here. And having an employee who feels that way, who feels a sense of belonging, they're going to show up and be that much more loyal, obviously, to the organization as well. So it creates, again, that beautiful culture.
How critical is that? I mean, that's absolutely the most important thing an employer can create for their people. Because I know in the workplace in today's that doesn't exist. It's all about the bottom dollar. It's driven. People are burnt out. Medical industry is a great example. Nurses are just crushed on it. Hospitals are overextended. Um, in corporate America, the same thing. It's just because we're not gathered under the vision. And the vision creates the mission, and it shows you. I just imagine for a second. We'll go back to that sales example. Just imagine for a minute if you had an employee that was on the vision. All right, and let's say we're in the creation of developing products for kids, or it doesn't really matter, just create products. When we have a vision of what we're creating in in purpose for what this business does, what happens if you have an employee that's bought into the vision and says, "Hey, I see something that would make this product better," or what if I can extend the product line based off this core because they enrolled into the vision, they feel a part of that vision, they give because of that vision, and when it comes about round again, when the profits go up, then you can share that with the employees or reward those that are participating in that vision. It's absolutely just critical to build something long term that matters and have loyalty and trust, all that. And it's anchored around the vision and sharing it. So, I mean, that's great, Debbie, pointing all that out. And, you've been in the corporate environment like you have. I mean, it's not uncommon to see a lack of vision for the most part. So
Right.
change one
And
thing,
do
you
it
could
right.
change everything with that.
Mhm. Like, I like to say most people think about have do, and be. Like, if I'm gonna have this,
Exactly.
then I'll be happy. I just got to do this and then I'll be happy. Whereas we flip it on its head, it's starting with a growth mindset. Like, who do I get to be? The best version of me. And when the individual employee has an understanding of who they are and they feel recognized, acknowledged, a sense of belonging, then the doing, which are the goal setting, and then the profits come in. So and that's in personal life, in business. It's really truly starts about the self-awareness, and the sense of being. Who do I get? Who am I? Who do I say that I am? Yeah.
Not what everybody else tells you to be. You got to
Hmm.
define it. What are you going to be in your life, and what are you living this life for? You only get one, so make it count. And vision is really where you start. You
For
get
sure.
clear. You
Yeah.
get clear. You can get into action. Action creates the clarity, and then you get the course correct, and there you go. Start getting results that matter on it. Just every day counts. Building those little foundational habits that get you there, and that start with your vision. Debbi, we are really excited to have you come Tuesday to Mindful Nugget, this Tuesday at 12 p.m. Eastern and 11 Central. And I know you don't share a lot more insights about your process, what you're going to create, and the opportunities that you have for people to enroll with you. And again, I said you've already published a couple of things that you'll share in there as well. And I encourage everybody to purchase one to start impacting your vision for your life. And Debbi, I'm extremely grateful to have you as a friend, to get to meet you over the past year and a half or so. And this is a great thing about vision. We can create things continuously as we go through our path together, and all things are possible. So the future is bright. It always is when I hang around you.
Aw, thank you.
So, so everybody, thank you so much, and we will see you Tuesday. Be there, learn something new.